Welcome back to the channel Old Coins ValueDo's video, where we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins. And in particular, we're going to uncover the story, mystery, and immense value behind a 1946 1-cent USA coin that has stunned collectors and historians alike with its jaw-dropping worth of up to $23 million. A number that seems unbelievable when you think of its original face value of just 1 cent. But the truth is that coin collecting is not just about age or scarcity. It's about errors, minting mistakes, unique characteristics, and quirks that set certain coins apart from millions of others struck in the same year. And the 1946 1-cent coin is a perfect example of how something as small and ordinary as a penny can turn into a treasure beyond imagination because of the circumstances surrounding its production, the historical period in which it was made, and the subtle errors that make it stand out. So in this script, we're going to explore the reasons why this coin could reach such a massive value, what types of mint errors may have contributed to its uniqueness, what possibilities exist in terms of double dies, repunched mint marks, planchet issues, off-center strikes, clip planchets, variations in metal content, transition error mistakes, and how collectors view these rare occurrences. And while we break all this down, I want you to remember that when a 1946 penny was minted, the United States was just coming out of World War II, and the mint was adjusting its operations back to peacetime production after years of war-related shortages and substitutions, particularly in 1943 when steel cents were made because copper was reserved for the war effort. Then in 1944 and 1945, many of the coins were struck from recycled shell casings. So when 1946 arrived, the mint returned to using primarily copper, but transitional errors and leftover planchets from earlier periods may have slipped into the presses, which means there's always the possibility of some coins being struck on the wrong metal stock, such as steel or shell casing brass. And these transitional planchet errors are some of the most valuable in the entire hobby, driving insane auction prices when one is discovered. So, if a 1946 cent was struck on a leftover 1943 steel planchet or a 1944 brass planchet with a different composition, that alone would skyrocket its value. Now, beyond the planchet composition, another factor that drives huge premiums is the presence of double die errors. And if the obverse or reverse dies were misaligned during hubbing, causing a dramatic doubling in the inscriptions like "In God We Trust," "Liberty," or the date 1946, collectors would go crazy for it because dramatic doubling errors from this era are among the most desirable. And when you add in the possibility of a repunched mint mark, which occurs when a small mint mark letter, such as a D for Denver or S for San Francisco, was punched multiple times into the die in slightly different positions, the coin suddenly becomes a one-of-a-kind variety that error enthusiasts will pay astronomical prices to own. And that is not all, because we also have to consider striking errors, such as off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing because the coin blank was mis-fed into the press, broad strikes where the retaining collar failed and the coin spread outwards, or multiple strikes where the coin was struck more than once, creating overlapping designs. And while many of these errors may be minor on common coins, when they happen on a historically significant year like 1946 and the coin remains preserved in high grade, the value escalates to the millions. And another fascinating point is that during the mid-1940s, the mint used different alloys and mixtures of metals, sometimes inconsistently. So some 1946 cents might weigh slightly differently or show unusual colorations due to higher levels of tin or zinc, which to specialists is a major clue of an experimental or transitional strike. And we cannot forget about clip planchets where a blank was punched too close to the edge of the metal strip and ends up missing a crescent-shaped portion, or even wrong planchet strikes where a cent design was struck on a dime planchet or foreign coin blank, both of which are extraordinarily rare, but possible in a busy mint environment where multiple denominations and foreign coins were being struck, and every one of these scenarios adds to the lore and mystery of the 1946 cent, pushing its perceived rarity into the stratosphere. And what really makes this coin so mind-blowing to collectors is the combination of historical timing, transitional errors, and survival in pristine condition. Because if a coin like this is found in mint state or uncirculated condition with sharp details, original luster, and minimal contact marks. It enters a different dimension of value since condition rarity is as important as era rarity. And auction houses have documented cases where coins with unique features fetch tens of millions, driven by passionate bidding wars between elite collectors who know they may never have another chance to own such a treasure. So when we talk about the 1946 penny being worth $23 million, we are not talking about an ordinary coin, but a legendary specimen that likely has a combination of these factors. Whether it's a steel transitional planchet, a bold double die obverse, a misstruck mint mark, or an off-metal strike, and preserved in gem mint state, which makes it a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. And this is why coin collectors and treasure hunters continue to search through old jars, rolls, and estate collections hoping to uncover that miracle coin hiding in plain sight. Because history has shown that incredible finds do happen when least expected. And the 1946 penny is a shining example of how the smallest error or quirk in minting can transform pocket change into generational wealth. And so, as we reflect on this unbelievable valuation of a 1946 1-cent coin being worth $23 million, we realize it's not just about the number, but about the fascinating world of numismatics where history, craftsmanship, mistakes, and human curiosity intersect to create stories that capture our imagination and keep us searching, learning, and collecting. Because who would ever think that a coin designed for everyday commerce, tossed into circulation, spent on candy or newspapers, back in the 1940s, could one day be the centerpiece of a world-class collection valued higher than luxury mansions or rare paintings? Yet here we are, captivated by the legend of the 1946 1-cent coin and its staggering value. And that is the magic of coin collecting, turning ordinary objects into extraordinary treasures. We dive deep into the fascinating world of coin collecting and the incredible story of the 1951 1-cent USA coin, a coin that originally carried a humble face value of just 1 cent, but has stunned collectors and investors alike with reports of certain rare variations and errors being valued in the tens of millions of dollars. In fact, up to an astonishing $24 million in some cases. And while this may sound unbelievable at first, it is a story rooted in the rich history of minting, human error, rarity, and the incredible passion collectors have for owning a truly unique piece of numismatic history. And as we explore the many factors that could turn a simple penny into a multi-million-dollar treasure, you will see how small mistakes during the minting process, unusual variations, misstrikes, planchet flaws, double die errors, and misplaced or altered mint marks can elevate a common coin into a once-in-a-lifetime collectible. And in order to understand why the 1951 1-cent coin holds such mystique, let us first remember that the Lincoln cent had already been in circulation for decades since its introduction in 1909 with the famous wheat reverse design, and by 1951 millions of these coins were minted across various facilities including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Yet despite the huge mintage, only a fraction of coins survive in pristine condition, and an even smaller fraction contain the kinds of errors and unique features that make collectors pay astronomical sums. And when we speak of value like $24 million, it is not just about condition, but about the story, the rarity, and the intrigue surrounding these coins, because a coin is not just metal, but history frozen in time, carrying with it the fingerprints of the minting process and occasionally the imperfections of the human and mechanical systems that produced it. And in 1951, several notable mint errors are believed to have taken place, including double die obverse varieties where the inscriptions such as "I in God We Trust" or "Liberty" or the date 1951 itself appear doubled when examined closely under magnification. And such doubling is caused by a die misalignment during the hubbing process, making each double die cent a distinct collectible that stands apart from its ordinary counterparts. And beyond doubling, there are also repunched mint marks, especially on coins struck at the Denver and San Francisco mints, where the letter D or S was punched more than once into the die by hand, resulting in overlapping impressions that create fascinating visual anomalies and are highly sought after. And collectors treasure these coins because each error is unique, each tells a story of how the coin came to be, and each represents scarcity in the sea of billions of ordinary cents. And the more dramatic the error, the greater the potential value. For instance, coins struck on the wrong planchet, such as a dime planchet instead of a cent. Planchet, or coin struck off-center where the design appears partially missing because of a misfeed in the coining press, or coins with broad strikes and clipped planchets where part of the coin's rim is missing due to a flaw in the blank preparation process. And when one of these dramatic errors is combined with the already collectible 1951 date, the result is a numismatic marvel that can command breathtaking prices. And when we talk about $24 million, that is the kind of value that represents the pinnacle of rarity, where a single unique specimen, perhaps with a combination of dramatic errors, pristine, uncirculated condition, and a story that captivates collectors, has become so legendary that it transcends its face value entirely. And it is this kind of story that fuels the excitement around the 1951 1-cent coin. Because while most examples may only be worth a few cents to a few dollars depending on condition, there exists the possibility, however slim, that a rare error or misstrike could turn up in circulation or in someone's collection, creating instant wealth for the lucky discoverer. And this possibility is what keeps collectors searching through jars of pennies, coin rolls, and inherited collections, always with the hope of finding that one extraordinary piece. And in the case of the 1951 penny, the intrigue is magnified by the sheer variety of potential errors. From die cracks that create raised lines across the coin's surface to cuds where parts of the design are missing due to die breakage, to machine doubling where the coin appears to have a shadowy double image caused by mechanical issues during striking. And even though machine doubling is often considered less valuable than true double die varieties, in combination with other unique factors, it can still add interest. And then there are coins struck with rotated dies where the obverse and reverse do not align correctly, or coins with off-metal compositions where a cent might accidentally be struck on a foreign planchet intended for another denomination or even another country. And such wrong planchet errors are among the rarest and most valuable because they represent a complete deviation from the norm. And history shows that collectors are willing to pay astronomical sums for coins that defy expectations and exist in only one or two known examples. And this is precisely how we arrive at valuations that seem unbelievable yet are rooted in real-world demand and auction results. And if we trace the excitement around rare pennies, we see how the 1943 copper cent struck in error instead of steel has sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars, even over $1 million, and the 1955 double die cent has captivated collectors for generations with its bold doubling on the date and motto, commanding prices in the tens of thousands. So when a 1951 cent is discovered with an even rarer and more dramatic error, it is no stretch of the imagination to see how its value could soar to $24 million if only one unique example exists, and if collectors with the resources to own such a treasure compete to acquire it. Because value is not just about metal content, but about rarity, desirability, and the passion of collectors. And when rarity reaches the level of one-of-a-kind uniqueness, the sky truly is the limit and beyond errors. The condition of the coin plays a critical role, with coins graded by professional services as mint state 67, 68, or higher commanding exponential premiums. And when a high-grade example also carries a dramatic mint error, the rarity compounds, making it the stuff of legend. And this is why stories circulate of 1951 pennies worth millions. Because in the world of numismatics, the intersection of rarity, condition, and historical significance can produce values that seem unimaginable. And even though the average 1951 wheat penny may only fetch a few cents to a few dollars, the dream of uncovering that one extraordinary error keeps the excitement alive. And so, as collectors, we're drawn not just by the metal, but by the mystery, the history, and the chance to uncover hidden treasure in our everyday lives. And when we think about it, the idea that a coin worth only 1 cent at the time of its minting can one day be worth $24 million is a testament to how human curiosity, passion, and appreciation for rarity can transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. And so as you watch this video, and perhaps glance at your own collection or even the change in your pocket, remember that each coin holds a story, each coin has a journey, and among them could be a hidden gem waiting to be discovered. And the 1951 1-cent USA coin is a shining example of how the smallest details, the tiniest errors, and the rarest variations can elevate something so humble into a treasure beyond imagination. And that is why we continue to search, to study, and to share these stories, because the thrill of discovery is what makes coin collecting one of the most engaging and rewarding hobbies in the world. And who knows, maybe someday you too will stumble upon a 1951 penny with an error so rare that it rewrites numismatic history and secures its place as one of the most valuable coins ever known. And as long as that possibility exists, the legend of the 1951 1-cent USA coin worth $24 million will continue to captivate and inspire generations of collectors, treasure hunters, and dreamers alike.